Here's to good friends, the ones we hold dear, the ones who will tell us what we need to hear, the ones who love us, right or wrong, and to all those good friends that give you this song.
Well, hello, good friends, and welcome back to The Last Walk, Remember When, with your host, Ron Baumbach. And we're going back in time again to the fun times, the theater of your lives, and a commemoration to a wonderful man who recently left us. So, get up off your easy chair, walk over to your fridge. Let's learn to make a egg cream. Let's try a chocolate one this time. Get a tall glass, take out the chocolate syrup, pour it in nice and easy, nice and smooth onto a spoon. Stir it, add in some little bit of milk, a dash of milk, maybe a little bit of milk, and some seltzer. Stir it so it's good and smooth. Make sure it tickles and fizzles and tickles your nose. Reach up in the cupboard, get a Drake's cake. And go back to your easy chair, turn on your lava lamp, close your eyes, get ready, it's storytelling time. The Last Walk is back.
Life is too short, we get only one turn. With luck we find beauty, but we sometimes get burned. But if you've had a true friend, or perhaps love, you've experienced a piece of heaven above.
We recently learned of the passing of a wonderful movie star, TV star, Broadway star, a winner of many, many different accolades and awards. He was a neighbor of mine growing up, Brian Dennehy. And a while back I did a show about the theater, and I thank Brian for everything he did to help me in my way along the path. Thank you to Brian Dennehy. Now I present, courtesy of YouTube, some audio clips from Brian and his thoughts upon life and hereafter from a few years ago.
I think it very much depends upon the individual. I mean, I know individuals and have known individuals who are going full speed, 82, 83, 84 years old, maybe dead in six months after that, but they never stop until, they're trying to go, trying to do something of value. But I would say probably a majority of people just stop, I mean, I feel the same tendency now. I'll be 80 my next birthday, of wanting to stop. You feel that's part of the thing that happens to you when you get old. I'm doing stuff that I love to do, and if anybody offers, I'll do it because I love to do it. It's fun. Why not? But at the same time, I can also say to myself, wouldn't it be bad? How about just sitting down for a while? But of course, you don't want to do that for too long because
right.
then it's hard to get up. Well, it's easy to say I would do what they did, which is to go. But it'd be something I'd have to think about because I do believe in a beginning, a middle, and an end. I mean, it's what the theater's all about, and so I'm not so sure that I would say, yeah, take me. I have to think about that. That's a pass for now. I mean, probably the last day, when I'm clawing at the sheets, I say, no, I changed my mind.
Beam me up.
I'll go. I've been really lucky. I wanted to do something, and I found a way to do it, and do it well, and make a living at it. So having done that, having set out to do something, and then doing it, and having done it successfully and spent my life doing it, I don't worry about end of life.
Thanks for warning me.
I mean, I really don't think about it. I expect one of these years or months reasonably to have a heart attack or whatever, or even if I go through that, my heart's pretty strong as it turns out. Something's going to happen to me in the next 4 or 5 years, for sure, and it's okay. You're given a certain amount of time, and if you're lucky, as I was, and you work hard, as I did, and you get pretty much what you want, which I just was able to do, then what if you got the better? You know, it ends at some point. Even in the movies, when you see a dead body in the movies, the audience instinctively, intellectually understands it's not dead. Yeah. Because when you see a newsreel and you see a dead body in it, you can see death. You can, even on the screen, you can see it. Wisest pieces of wit, I guess, they ever heard. It must have been an Irishman who said it. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. All of a sudden, something ignites in somebody, and they see their life in a way that they hadn't seen it before. So, for whatever it's worth, I mean, you have to consider that was the whole point of the play in the first place, was the act of illumination. Whatever it is that exists after death, your instinct is to say, I'll wait. I'll find out then, if I have to. And as you get older, you approach the end. I mean, then you grab a hold of something that you care about, that you can do, like me acting, and you squeeze more out of it as much as you can. I mean, you've got a certain amount of time, and you better be aware of it, you know, and you better be aware of the fact that not only do I have to do something that I want to do, that I really care about, you don't have to necessarily succeed at it. I mean, I know a lot of actors who are struggling all the time to be actors. But when they get a job, they do the best they can, and they give it. And so great success is not guaranteed to everybody. But living well, living hard, living difficult, taking chances, busting your ass, that's anybody can do that. Anybody can. And there's enough of a payoff in that, especially if you're doing something you really care about. That's enough of a payoff for anybody.
I've been so lucky and I've been so blessed. In spite of my failings, I've found success. For I've known love and I've known good times, and I have known friendship and written some rhymes.
Over the course of time, I've given a number of talks. And in my presentations, I show an audio-visual presentation of 1950s, 60s, and 70s. And ironically, when I show Brian's picture, I put that last clip we just heard of Good Friends, about I've been so lucky, I've been so blessed. I think about Brian, how blessed he was, and how wonderful he was. In 2007, Brian did a very lovely interview with Martha Teichner on CBS's TV show Sunday Morning. Here's a clip from that wonderful show and a great interview with the beloved Brian.
As the time begins to diminish for you, you become more interested in what you're doing.
On a really cold February day, the week before rehearsals began for Inherit the Wind, Brian Dennehy talked about acting and life at his 18th century farm.
It probably was about 300 acres originally. We have about 50 now, which is enough.
And it's in the part of Connecticut that's the middle of nowhere, which Dennehy likes.
These places always make me feel more relaxed.
You're not drawn to the celebrity life?
No. You never catch me dancing with Lindsay Lohan on some tabletop someplace. I mean, there was a time when I did my own form of table dancing, but that's long gone now.
A look back at those days would hardly have predicted the trajectory his career has taken.
It took a long time for me to have any impact in the business because I didn't look like an actor. I didn't sound like an actor.
You big, tall, tutti-frutti.
In his first film, Semi-Tough, which got him noticed, he was a football player. Big, simple, and sadistic.
I drop her. Folks are going to be mad at me.
No.
But if I pull it back, they're going to laugh at me.
He seemed to specialize in hulks with dangerous grins, rough customers, the sheriff in First Blood, the original Rambo movie.
You hear me? Now put your hands on the car. Now you put your hands on the car and you spread them.
An actor was definitely not what his family wanted him to be. Dennehy was born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, the oldest of 3 boys. The family moved around because his father was a reporter and editor for the Associated Press.
My father was a closet intellectual. From him, I learned devotion, and I also learned about the life of the mind.
But it was from his high school football coach / English teacher that he got his love of acting. He played tackle and Macbeth.
And a lot of people in the business say to me, "My God, you played Macbeth when you were 13 years old in front of a Catholic boys' high school audience?" That really took a lot of guts, and I always say not nearly as much guts as the freshman who played Lady Macbeth. He really had a lot of guts.
Dennehy went to Columbia University, played more football, and served in the Marines before finally committing himself to the typical wannabe actor's life.
I drove a truck and I drove a cab and I worked in many bars and did lots of jobs that people did. They were always disposable jobs because it was necessary to dispose of them if anything should happen.
But it was the living he did in those disposable jobs that gave his acting authenticity.
Live and learn, like I always say.
Oh, God.
As the bartender in 10, for example.
What else do you always say?
I always say, down the hatch.
In the 50 or so movies he's been in, and literally hundreds of TV shows, Dennehy is always trying to find a piece of himself in the characters he plays, even the shady ones, like the DA in Presumed Innocent.
What are you trying to do to me?
What am I trying to do to you? What are you trying to do to me? I thought I had your loyalty.
I was able to kind of explore a side of me that had to do with politicians, Irish politicians, hustlers. I remember playing John Wayne Gacy, serial killer, very sick, neurotic, screwed up guy. You know what? There's part of me there, too.
Of his screen roles, he thinks the best was one hardly anybody saw, The Belly of an Architect, an art film about the disintegration of a famous architect's life.
It's hard to know who to trust, isn't it, Jack?
He finally sort of got to play against physical type when director Ron Howard cast him as the leader of a group of aliens pretending to be human in Cocoon.
And I said, "Okay, Ronnie, I get all of that." I said, "But let me ask you a question. Why would this highly superior, intelligent being choose to look like me?" Okay? Why wouldn't he choose Robert Redford or George Clooney? The point is that you play with the cards that you're dealt with.
Or not, as Dennehy decided.
30 years ago, my interest in where's the party?
You were
Who's going to drive
renowned
tonight?
as a sort of a party animal and
Drinker.
a drinker.
Yeah, no, a drinker. We don't have to beat around the bush. I was a drinker. And I had a good time. And at some point, you get to a certain age, 45, 50, I don't know what happened. I said, Jesus, all I got is a certain amount of time. Maybe I should think about using that a little bit better.
After a failed first marriage, he remarried and has 2 young children now. And after a lifetime of going off quietly between movie and television roles to do serious plays, theater has become his priority.
They don't need me in New York. I'm the New England man.
He won a Tony Award for Death of a Salesman, and then another one for Long Day's Journey into Night.
Look, if you're 60-something years old, pushing 70, the chances of you getting a tremendously fascinating part in the movies are very low, as to be almost indistinguishable. But in the theater, there are still things to do. Very interesting, very profound things.
If St. George had slain